All right, what's up, my brothers? We got a requested video today from a Air Force pilot who has what he describes as a brutal case of one-itis. So let's dive right into this. We'll throw it up in the screen, and I just copied and pasted it over because his links at the bottom would have shown as I would have scrolled it, so I wanted to keep them anonymous. He says, "Hey, Rich, watched your videos, read the Unplugged Alpha. If you haven't got my book, guys, it is on Amazon. You can get it for free as an Audible with a new membership. Kindle's less than $10, or print. The book is always great to have on hand. Check that out. I think it's something every man should read. Like most other men, I grew up thinking that happy endings had to come eventually for the nice guy. Yeah, the nice guy, right? Just be a nice guy. Be less so she can become more, right? Bend the knee, and she'll just be with you forever." Well, most guys learn at some point that that doesn't really work in real life, and women are particularly hot to trot for that over the long term anyway. Anyway, in high school, women were always a huge disappointment for me. I was a fat kid growing up and never had any meaningful relationships, and the other kids made fun of me a lot. Shortly after I graduated, I enlisted in the Air Force and began my journey into adulthood. I dove headfirst into my career, read books, joined many different social groups, and started working out like a monster. Now I'm a USAF pilot, run a small business, and have a mountain of friends. I'm in incredible shape and get compliments on the size of my arms and chest nearly every week. While I'm not making FU money yet, my net worth isn't low, and I'm in the top 10% of income earners. He goes on to say, my success with women has also steadily increased over the years. During my early years in the service, I started having small successes, hooking up with hotter and higher quality women. I eventually got to the point where I began dating women that I once considered extremely out of my league. One of them was even a runner-up to the Miss Name Your State pageant, is what he called it here. So whatever state you're in, she was a runner-up to that pageant. Anyway, while life hasn't been bad for me recently, I've hit a bit of a wall when it comes to women. My relationships don't last long. I still get ghosted quite often, and it pisses me off. See, even like, a fighter pilot that looked like, the dude looks like Tom Cruise, is how I would describe him. You put on, the jumpsuit with the G suit on top of it and all that stuff. Basically looks like a version of Tom Cruise in Top Gun, even probably the more recent one that's coming out. Somewhere, I don't know how old he is. He didn't say how old he is in the request, but he's somewhere between the young Tom Cruise from Top Gun and where he is today at the instructor age. Anyway, so his relationships don't last long. My only assumption, so after he gets ghosted quite often, pisses him off, he says, my only assumption is that maybe I come off as alpha on the surface and exhibit beta tendencies after the layers are peeled back. Bingo. Guys get ghosted, like guys that look the part that can't back it up with actions and understand game are usually the ones that still deal with the ghosting issues. They'll tend to become more obvious as you date longer term. And like you say here, that your relationships don't last long. Typically, it's because of game. If you look good and you're well sorted, you have a good career, you look like you're a man on your purpose, which by all, yardsticks to measure you up to, that's what I'm seeing. So what I'm basically guessing here at this point is your assessment of yourself is correct. You've probably got low quality game, and you probably fall into the category of betatization through 1,000 concessions over a long term when it comes to women, which I describe in quite a few places in my book, actually. Anyway, so you go on to say, 5 years I've been chasing the same woman just to be disappointed. We met at work a few years ago. I found out later that she was dating another man in our unit, and I was crushed. Shocking, right? She's dating more than one guy at the same time, and women point and sputter at me. Stop telling guys to spin plates. Why? Because women don't do it. I stopped talking to her for a while and moved away. Short time later, we started talking again and eventually hooked up for a long distance relationship. So, she's flip-flopping back and forth, testing the waters to see which guy is the best out of the bunch for her. That's all hypergamy really is. She broke up with me 4 months afterwards, and he was devastated. However, my financial persistence got the better of me, and I continued chasing. I know I'm wasting my time, and I need to cut her out of my life. My issue in letting her go lies in the fact that she is here comes the unicorn statement, that she is seriously unique and exhibits none of the red flags that you describe. If you're not familiar, you can get the chapter on red. I think I can put banners up when I'm recording. Let's do that. So you can get the chapter on the red flags out of my book for free. You don't have to buy the book. You can just get on my email list, and it gives you access to get it right here. So if you're not familiar, you can get that at any time. I don't spam my list. I will send something out from time to time if it's important, but that's where you get it. So talking about red flags. So he says that she has none of the red flags that I described. Add to that the serious lack of desire to date other women, and I have one hell of a problem. What sort of advice would you give someone like me? What do you think I'm truly worth in the marketplace? Well, first of all, your biggest problem is you're limiting yourself to one woman. You have a predisposition to the plugged in imperative, the lie that there's only one man, one woman, and that's it. And somewhere deep within you, you've got to take that around, behind the bar and beat it with a stick, kill it, bury it 6 feet under, and be done with it. That might take you reading my book 2 or 3 times. I've got other recommended reads. Of course, Rational Male books 1 and 2 are mandatory in my estimation. Also, if you want to understand a little bit more about what drives attraction and arousal and desire between the sexes, there's plenty of great books on evolutionary psychology. One of the best, in my view, I would say would be David Buss, The Evolution of Desire. So consuming that content will logically update your beliefs. The problem is you need to get on the floor in the arena and actually play it out now. And if you're limiting yourself to one chick, you've got one-itis for one chick because you think she's a unicorn, because she, to quote you, she's seriously unique and exhibits none of the red flags right here, then you're starting off from a losing, position. Let's just pull this out of the screen and we'll kind of start to wrap this up. But basically, I can always tell what somebody's belief system looks like by examining results, which come from daily choices, because that's what gets you the results. The daily choices come from your belief system. So it sounds simple, and it really is. It's not that easy to always execute because it takes some discipline. But I mean, the good thing about military guys that I really like I really enjoy working with military guys because I can get through them, pretty quick. I can get them fixed and back on purpose reasonably quick because they understand the benefits, if you will, of mental fortitude and discipline and doing the work, more so than any guys that I've ever worked with. I mean, there's a lot of top shelf entrepreneurs that also understand the same concepts too, but it shouldn't be that hard for you if you start doing the work on yourself. I understand this is all new, and you just can't read a book once and watch a few of my videos and be like, all right, I'm good. So now what do I do? And I still have one-itis. How do I get over it? There's some discipline, that's going to be involved with that. Starting with dating more than one woman simultaneously in a non-monogamous fashion and not letting yourself be limited to one chick just because, you think she's a unicorn, right? There are no perfect women out there. There are no unicorns. That's one of the biggest mistakes that guys make, is they seem to come to this conclusion, or they tend to arrive at this idea that there can't possibly be a better chick than this one that I've got right now because she's got, insert whatever narrative, in this case, that she's got none of the red flags that you mentioned in the book. Dude, there's more than the 20 red flags. Those are just the most consistent ones that I've seen pop up over the years in myself, my own life, and also the hundreds of men that I've coached one-on-one. It's been over 1,000 probably by now if you include the Zoom sessions that I do with my community. But those were the main ones that popped up over and over again. She could have something that's outside of that hasn't been contemplated, that could be extremely detrimental to you as a guy in your life and chasing excellence and all those things. So first of all, stop putting women up on a pedestal. They're not particularly rare. Beautiful women are not rare or unique. Like I mentioned in my book, all you got to do is go to Instagram and search hashtag fitness model or fitness girl or whatever the trending tag is that they're using these days. And you will literally get millions of results of stunning women, categorically or objectively tens, if that's where you want to put them. Smoke shows. And the thing that you got to remember is there's an abundance of beautiful women out there. They're just not always all the way around you, especially if you work in a industry where it's male dominated. I mean, in the military, it's mostly dudes. And if there's any women in it, they're either garden tools, for the most part, and they're slamming everybody, or they're not particularly attractive. I've got a few buddies of mine that have been through the military, and they all say the same thing. They're all a bunch of 4s that think that they're 9s, right? And they're really not. So, I mean, part of that is the environment that you're in. So you're not seeing a lot of them, but there's a ton of them out there. There really is. So all you got to do is really spend more time focusing on your own belief system so you can make better choices to get those better results. We can use something simple like, hey, if you're fat and you get up in the morning, you can't see your feet when you look down and you got to take a piss or whatever, you've got belly fat issues, and your belief system has told you don't move that much and eat crappy food. And during the day, you make those choices. You don't move as much and you eat crappy food, which gets you the results that you have, which is why you're fat. So you want to change those, have a different belief system, i.e., make sure you're moving more and eating healthier food. So as your day goes on and you make choices and it's lunchtime and you want to eat, instead of going to fast food, you maybe get a salad with some grilled chicken on top of it, right? And, you make continuous intelligent choices and you move more, so you burn calories, throughout the day. And that's how you get those better results. Again, beliefs, choices, results. You're in full control of that. Nobody else can control that but you. It's entirely within your scope of control and power to change those behaviors. So just unplug, fat for one-itis and update beliefs around that, which will, basically facilitate choices and results getting you to where you want to go. So what sort of advice do I have beyond that, aside from what I've already talked about? What do you think I'm truly worth in the marketplace? Obviously, from what I've seen with the links that you gave me, you look like a high value guy. I don't know what your game looks like. So I don't know what your text game looks like. I don't know what happens when you deal with women. I don't know what happens by the 3rd or 10th or 20th date. I don't know any of those things because there's no context here with that. So you've got a few options. One, you can you can call in on my Monday night show, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Before the Train Wreck right now. I may be rebranding that later on, but we'll just call it that. But I'll always be doing a Monday night show at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. There's a call-in opportunity. So if you want to call in there, call in live, and in the private chat, just let me know that you were the guy that made the request, and I'll put you at the front of the line. We can chop it up a little bit. So that's a free way for us to kind of dive down the rabbit hole a little bit further. If you want to book me for one-on-one coaching privately and talk about it, there's always a link pinned in the top comment. My rate's pretty high because I usually deal, at the top shelf, and I've got a load of experience. Obviously, I'm a seasoned man, got a little salt and pepper in the beard, so I've seen a lot of stuff out there. So that's where I price myself. If that's out of your price range, I'd recommend you can talk to somebody like Paul Benjamin. He's got Apex Mindset, so shout out to my boy Paul. His rate's a little bit lower. He's a little bit newer to the space, but he's actually another military guy, so you might like that. So there's a few options there for you, but what it really boils down to is, if I could give you some actionable advice before wrapping this up, read some more books, the ones that I've mentioned earlier. 1, 2, stop sulking. Okay, like sitting around and moping about, I lost a unicorn. She's seriously fucking unique. She has none of the red flags. Blah 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 blah. Dude, there's an abundance of beautiful women out there, and when you approach life with an abundance mindset and understand that, you've got more opportunities than what you believe, especially a guy like you. Like, you're younger than me, and objectively, you're better looking than me. You got a great head of hair. You're in a career that attracts women like flies to shit, basically. They did a study once, I think it was on Tinder, on the right swiping habits, and they isolated it to job description mentioned. And pilots got the highest number of right swipes. I think entrepreneurs were number 2, and I can't remember what number 3 was, but pilots always had the highest number of right swipes. So you got a lot of things going for you. You got a lot more going for you than what you think. So double down on what you can control that's within your life, and forget about the shit that you can't. Like, oh, I don't know how to get her out of my head because she's the perfect one. And just start dating more women, start spinning some plates, date them non-monogamously. Don't give your commitment away so easily and so early, if they ask for it. And probably the most important part of this, the biggest component, which I think is probably missing, which we can't identify from here, is usually guys that look like you that suck on the back end. Because one of the things you said was you're not good at you said, my relationships don't last that long. So if you're having difficulty having women stick around, it's because your game sucks, and or you let yourself go through the betatization through 1,000 concessions. I'm guessing it's probably more so to do with game, because you also said right after that, I still get ghosted quite often, which means that your game is probably not on point. So there's your solutions to this problem. It's going to take some work to execute on it. Thanks again for making the request and sponsoring the video, supporting the channel, all that good stuff. Hope you guys got some value out of it. If you have any tips for him, because you've been in a similar scenario, comment section below. I always invite you guys to provide useful feedback. Don't be a douche. I mean, there's too many idiots out there, and sometimes it turns off guys that are like seriously looking to do the work. So provide some useful feedback if you've got some experience similar to what this guy's gone through. But you got loads to work on with this one. I've given you some good homework, so I hope that helps out. Smash the like button. See you guys in the next video, and pin below in the comments. Check those out. Lots of useful stuff to look at. Again, if you haven't got my book, it's a great starting point to unplugging from comforting lies that society has sold men. It's on Amazon. It's become a bestseller. And if you have read it, do me a big solid. Leave a quick review on Amazon and just let other men know what kind of value you got out of reading it. See you guys later. Peace.